Have you ever questioned your intelligence? Y'all, let's talk about it. Okay, so do y'all know the story of King Saul and David? Now, King Saul was on a mission to tear David to shreds, all because he was jealous. Now, remember little David, he was the one that fought against Goliath. And when King Saul found out about it, he said, "What do you think you're doing? You're too small. You're just a little boy trying to fight a man who's been in the army and who is a giant for years. What are you doing?" But since you decided you're going to fight against Goliath, go ahead and put on my armor, at least to keep you a little bit safe. And David's like, no, 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 I'm going in the strength of the Lord. I'm going into that battle fighting the way that God has taught me to fight. I don't need your armor. And so by the end of that story, Saul was left asking who that guy David was, because he recognized something in David that he haven't seen before. So David is growing up. He's getting more popular among the people. He's doing more things for God. Da, da, da. And so David goes into battle. As he's walking into the city, everybody's shouting, King Saul killed his thousands, but David killed his 10,000s. So Saul became even more jealous. He actually became irate. And then he said, you know what? I think I'm going to be a little bit revengeful. I got to take care of this man because he ain't about to take my seat in the kingdom. You see the pride? Do you see the ego? King Saul, great representation of all that. So now we have it to where King Saul is so jealous of David that he has set out several times to kill him. So David is now on the run. Can you imagine living a life on the run? Looking over your shoulder, not knowing what's going on. Like, God, what is happening? Like, thankfully, God saved him every time. He always had a way of sending David a message so he can take cover. Even through King Saul's son, Jonathan, who was best friends, he warned him several times that, hey, my dad is trying to kill you. At first, he didn't believe it, but then he started to realize who his father was and the things that he was saying about David, and he realized that he really wouldn't kill this man. So God had a way of sending word to David every time to send him on protection. But let's go to 1 Samuel 24, and let's talk about how David spared Saul's life. Talking about a question of intelligence here, everybody that was with David was like, yo, what in the world are you thinking? But David, he already knew what God had instructed him to do. So let's talk about it. Saul was in the cave. Bro had to go to the bathroom. David's men saw him. So they said in verse 4, they said, now is your opportunity. David's men whispered to him, today the Lord is telling you, I will certainly put your enemy into your power to do with you as you wish. So David crept forward and cut off a piece of the hem of Saul's robe. But then David's conscience began to bother him because he had cut Saul's robe. He said to his men, the Lord